Welcome everybody to the M1 playoffs here today at the Axiata Arena. It's looking real good today. Cameras are clean, environment is ready, but are you ready for some exciting games? My name is Gideon Q. Here with me today is going to be Aaron Contra Chan casting together with me. How you feeling, dude?
Well, I'm feeling really great. I'm absorbing all the energy coming from the crowd. They have been definitely great throughout the entire day, and they're not even losing energy heading towards our very final one for this series for today. But of course, we're going to be looking at 10 Seconds Gaming Plus coming up online. And of course, let's have a look into the bracket to explain it a little bit further onto its stat. Now, of course, the final series, we'll see Axis Esports go against 10 Seconds Gaming Plus, as I mentioned. And in the first game, Sunspark pull up a great upset against VEC Fantasy Main, and they are keeping the Philippines up alive on towards the semifinals on the low bracket.
Yeah, but remember, this is always going to be a struggle no matter what. Being in the bottom of the brackets, the risk of being eliminated is just so high. So every game is going to count. They need that momentum. But today, we're going to be looking at Axis versus 10 Second Gaming. The winner of this best of three is going to be moving on to face Todak here. And again, it's unfortunate for a lot of the Malaysian fans because if they lose out here, they get eliminated. But if they move on, one Malaysian team is going to get eliminated no matter what.
That's definitely the nature of the competition that we're looking at, and that's pretty much fair play as well.
Fair.
As we're looking at the upper brackets, we're also seeing two Indonesian titans right up above, Rex Regium Kian, as well as EVOS Legends. So what goes up must come down.
Exactly, and more importantly, these they're looking even better than they are in the group stages. They definitely revved up the engine coming into this playoff.
Now, what are you expecting heading in towards this sort of series? Because we're talking about the playoff runs here, which means teams are getting sent home. And wow, we got to talk about both sides here.
Yeah.
Axis Esports, really great aggression, and they usually would pressurize every lane from the early game all the way through the late game. And of course, there's also 10 Seconds Gaming. But before that, let's have a look in towards the introduction videos of both sides.
I think more importantly, before we get even close to those videos, we have to kind of, highlight the fact that 10 Second Gaming came from Group D. But let's have a look at the video. Once again, here you have it, 10 Seconds Gaming coming up to the stage in Axiata Arena. Look at these boys, they've got the flag, they've got the support here in Malaysian turf.
We also have a huge support for Kozu as well. We heard the fans roar. And now, of course, the main roster is coming into the stage here, getting closer and closer to the trophy. But first, they must take down one of the home favorites right here, Axis Esports. This is definitely not an easy task. And Axis Esports were the champions of MPL MYSG Season 2. We talk about the dark horses here, and this horses can definitely run hundreds of battles, and who knows, that might just bring them all the way to the glorious run of securing that title.
I think what's really scary for 10 Seconds Gaming here is, more importantly, that they are not on home soil anymore. They don't have that advantage. The crowd isn't going to be cheering for them as hard as they should be because most of them are going to be cheering for Axis Esports every single kill. Hopefully, they don't get demoralized by that. They keep a strong mental, and we don't know whether they're a stage team, but maybe just that anticipation might invigorate them to go that extra mile.
But we do know that there's a lot of all these fans here who is just up for great games no matter what. And from 10 Seconds Gaming Plus, they have definitely garnered, rallied up so many fans across the globe.
So much support, yeah.
Their incredible series on the group stages was definitely fantastic. Well, I can't elaborate how great it was because every single one of them have some pocket picks coming out with that 9 secrets up in their hand. Don't worry. The flag is soaring high, being held by all the fans surrounding Asiato Arena, waiting for their heroes to come on by. With all these high fives coming up from members of Access Esports, consisting of many of the members of Reborn previously.
Yeah,
No.
and these guys, I mean, they've come a long way to get here, and now they're going up against the formidable 10 Second Gaming. We know that the Group D was the group of death. Each team representative is just so insanely good at the game, but 10 Seconds Gaming, coming from that group alone, I mean, they've definitely garnered some attention for a lot of the pro teams who don't have a lot of information on them. Here's the lineup here for those who don't know. It's Lassen, Lung, Evil X, Rin, and Scott, who's going to be playing for their main lineup against 10 Second Gaming.
We'll be keeping our eyes closed on how Lung as well as Rin go on that tag team duo to take down many of their enemies, as they love to go in with those sort of the high risk, high reward sort of picks. As I would think that Hellcurt is definitely being sought after by Access Esports.
Yeah, and we can already see that the meta is shifting here at the M1 tournament itself. People are trying to adapt. People are trying to evolve to see what's the better matchup, what's the better counter pick. The game is evolving as we speak every single time we go into one of these best of threes.
Yeah, and when it comes down to best of threes, it's really tough because as compared to a best of 5, at least you do have a little bit of that room to breathe for the very least. Like, if you lose one game, you say, hey, maybe we could still get ourselves well composed by game 2. But they're always on the edge of their seat. But now, Access Esports Club, and what I'm thinking is that they do have a lot of similar picks as compared to 10 Seconds Gaming Plus, in that sort of sense that they like to actually go for Harif. They like to go for that Lunox as well. So I think that when it comes to those mage carries, as well as all these frontliners, they're going to be having pretty much a similar lineup. But let's have a look at 10 Seconds Gaming Plus's lineup.
Yep, Totaka, Papa, Ubuyan, Sure, and Tomemo going to be for 10 Seconds Gaming. That is the lineup that they're going with right here. I'm excited to see whether these boys are ready to take up the challenge.
Well, I definitely would say that Papa is that player to look out for as well. Remember how he actually turned the fight around with him being alone, and he managed to pick up a Maniac 1 versus 5.
I mean, sure, that sounds great, but you really, honestly, to me, you gotta put your eyes on Sure here. He's my personal favorite because he plays a great tank. He's so utilitarian. He knows exactly what he has to do to get his team ahead.
And of course, that's definitely both of them locking horns against each other. Well, there are so many startup-studded players out there who is trying to prove themselves as the very best of the tournament. And we talk about the side of 10 Seconds Gaming Plus taking so many games off of other teams, and they've finally gotten 2 losses from EVO's Legends as well, but now they're trying to find a way to come back. Now let's check out some of the videos coming up online.
2回連続で勝ってそのままグループ D トップの成績で突破したいと思います。そして優勝を目指します。この日のために 毎日朝は特訓モードで自分たちの練習を個人練習しております。それが結果につながると信じています。今回のグループ D ではまだあまり大会 MPL とかでは見てないロシアのチームがあるんですけれども、ロシアのチームは特殊なメタを使ってきます。トップに1人、ミドルルートに3人、ボットに1人、普通のインドネシアやフィリピンのメタと少し違うので、そこに気をつけたいと思っておりまして、であとはオニックフィリピン、こちらに対しては個人技術がもうトップレベル、そしてチームのドラフトが非常にうまいと思っております。で他のチームよりもうまいので、誰もオニックのドラフトには勝てないと思います。私たちを除いては。
Some great insights from 10 Second Gaming about their preparation coming into this tournament. And yeah, we were talking about that even in the group stages where we were kind of explaining, like, where did this team come from? What kind of preparation have been doing? And apparently they've been doing that for 2 months straight.
And they will definitely rise up early to just make sure that they get that training in hand and they prepare for every single opponent and give them well enough of respect. And of course, let's check out Axis Esports as well.
Oh.
Well, of
Looks
course.
like we're going to take our time with this, actually, because 10 Second Gaming, what's really interesting about them is how a lot of teams, I've heard based on rumors on the side, how they're like, we don't have a lot of information on them. How do we prioritize our picks and bans? And I feel like a lot of teams I feel like 10 Second Gaming unintentionally gets under a lot of teams' skin as well as get into their hands in the psychological game. But let's have a look at this little video.
Kepada 10 Second Gaming, game ni biasa 10 minit, tapi untuk 3 orang kita buat 10 saat.
All right. Okay. I gotta give it to both of these teams. I like the trash talk here from both sides, but I definitely feel like after the MPL MYSG Season 4 that, you know, they stepped up their trash talk game at least.
Well, I really love it because even from the Japanese side, they didn't even need to speak a word, and it already rang volumes across this entire arena. But of course, looking at how Axis Esports just responded with, oh, games usually only last 10 minutes for us, but for you, just 10 seconds will do.
All right, the game is looking to be set up. We're getting ready to go. We're revving up those engines. These players, hopefully they're warmed up to give us one exhilarating game.
Well, my engines are up and running, and we're ready for our very first draft as well, coming up online in just a little few moments. And now, speaking of drafting, I think both sides are really flexible with their picks.
Yes.
So this is bound to be one of the most exciting games that we will possibly see for today. I'm expecting high kill volumes all across. You can just say, screw those objectives. Just go for fights.
Take those fights. Go for those bloody bouts. I'm excited to see how that plays out more than anything else. But I think 10 Second Gaming, you know, they're calm. They're collected. They'll take fights when it's in their own right. They will dictate the pace of the game. But Axis, we know them as the people who like to throw wrenches in a lot of team players' plans. They were like, oh, you want to go for your 1, 2, and 2? Who cares? We're going to break it down. But let's go straight into the draft before we move any further.
Now heading into game 1, we're already seeing 2 mages getting axed away. Lunox as well as Harif, both respect bans towards each other. As we saw, Rin, of course, playing a whole lot of that for Lunox. And I talked about the Papa coming out really huge with that Maniac that was displayed in the group stages. And they don't really want to get anywhere close to that. Now, more and more mages are getting taken out with the Changer coming into the second ban of 10 Seconds Gaming Plus.
Yeah, a lot of respect from both sides, and I think Axis, they acknowledge their opponents. They're getting rid of the Raphaelia, they're getting rid of the Hara. 2 huge picks that 10 Second Gaming's have been abusing to kind of get ahead here. However, they're going to leave that export wide open.
Well, Obuya now securing that export. Well, it's really that sort of flex pick where you could still play him as a support as well. So let's see whether or not will this be a fighter sort of export coming in, but I still prefer him, of course, building a lot more tankiness and getting a whole lot more farm than just to roam around, being a ward in between those rivers. But he does have a lot of safety net, though, with that sort of Viraga armor coming into play. Now, for Axis Esports, they do have Kaja up available. They should be able to actually secure this, or, you know, they can also go in for that Esmeralda, where you see there's so little grade A sort of a mage up online, so they should go for it. And of course, how could I forget the Masha as well?
Yep, looks like they're going to be locking in the Masha for themselves. Now we're going back over to the blue side. What do they want to pick up for themselves? They had the first pick initially, but let's see how this plays out.
Well, I'm not too sure how exactly this one's going to go for them, but I did mention Kaja. I feel it's too hard to pass, but then again, they really got to find a way to actually stop that Masha as well. So there we go. Lilia has been picked during the group stages, and they will go to their trusty mage once more. Baxia has been brought out as well, and we saw how many times Totoposans, as well as, well, we're of course having some great laugh with that's her name because it's so hard for us.
Tortoise. Tortoise. Potato, potato. Same thing. But yeah, you do bring up a really good point here with the Baxia as well.
So hard to kill.
It's so difficult. I mean, both of them, especially for on the mage side, the Black Shoes is just a great option. Granger going to be locked in that locking his final pick for the first phase. Now moving into the second phase here, a lot of options are still up on the table. Both sides still need a tank. Both sides are trying to kind of figure out how are we going to punish them coming into the second phase of the bans.
Well, I like that Granger pickup as well. This is definitely for the hands of Lunga, as we see him playing a lot of that during the MPL and YSG. And maybe they might reply with getting either the Claude or even well, we see a lot of carry being picked up as well. I think that's not too shabby of an option being left up on the table. Now, one more ban for the side of Axis Esports, and they are taking their sweet time. So they could actually hit in to actually remove either that Rafaela as well. Like, we remember that Obuyan plays a whole lot of that Rafaela, and look at his lineup. It's really hard to kill. If you do have that Rafaela coming in, it's going to be even tougher to actually shut them down inside of all these sort of team fights.
I absolutely agree. I think Kaja is going to be a great man here with a 60% win rate overall throughout the tournament. They've been doing such a great job with it, and whoever has it, it's so oppressive. It can be very frustrating to deal with. But I think more importantly is why are they leaving the Kufra up? They know for a fact Gushin is still on the table for the side of Axis Esports. I mean, we know for a fact that 10 Seconds Gaming, they don't want to go with a double mage comp with what they have right now. They lock in the Kufra up for Axis Esports, and now Cho as well as Gato Gacha for the side of 10 Seconds Gaming.
Whoa, beefy line coming in from 10 Seconds Gaming Plus. And of course, my blue eyes forgot that Rafaela was the second ban coming in. So, of course, Kaja definitely make a whole lot more sense. But if that was left out in the open, I think that 10 Seconds Gaming Plus would have taken that with a heartbeat. Now, less its turn. And usually, we'd see Axis Esports here taking an assassin. And I feel like at this moment, there's no point of picking that assassin because whoever that they want to target is going to be pretty hard to burst down.
Yeah, it's just going to be difficult in general, and I think 10 Seconds Gaming,
they just need a mage.
Yeah, they just really need a mage here. It's a little scary to actually go for the Gushin here because there's not a lot of options to actually do it, but I think they're kind of forced to go with it because there's just nothing good to take off the table that's to be able to deal with it. But you know, we're talking about Axis Esports. We've seen them make the plays with the Gushin before. It's not like it's unheard of to them, but again, there's not a lot of options left. And 10 Seconds Gaming, I think their composition is a little designed to deal with that Gushin very nicely.
Well, I'm not really all too sure. Well, yep, they're not really spoiled for choice in that sort of sense, as we saw so many of these mage being picked off. And Gushin, 14% win rate. Let's talk about it. Like, patches ago, he was still having some high win ratios, but in the hands of the right player who can pull great incandescence to actually maneuver around the map, to actually hop across and assassinate mages. That will definitely be pretty much the key towards that composition that Axis Esports have right now.
Yeah, both coaches giving respect to each other with a great handshake here. They all know what's on the line, but oof, I don't know how to feel about this, because I feel like 10 Second Gaming came very prepared to deal with Aggussion. They limited the pool very early on, and I think it was a little too late for Axis to respond with a mage because Kufra was still on the table. I kind of feel they might and should have opted to either let the Grok go, pick up the Kufra first, and then maybe pick up the Gushin for themselves. But again, looking at 10 Seconds Gaming, the priority targets are just so difficult to kill.
Yeah, I think that sustainability definitely gives them a little bit of that edge in the sort of sense, especially if they do scale. But there's one more problem in TAC where, what if they don't really have the sufficient damage to actually burst out members of Axis Esports? That could also be another factor to come in. But that Cho might just go in with a little bit of that mixed build in that sense, so that he's beefy enough and he can still pack a couple punch and a huge kick.
Yeah,
back.
I wouldn't be too surprised if he goes full damage actually in this particular game, because they're going to need it. He has that pick potential. It kind of adds to the versatility of the composition. Whether he takes Flicker or Arrival, we're just going to have to wait and see. That kind of tells you, how the team wants to play. Because if it's with Arrival, quick rotations, an easy advantage. Oh, you're just starting a 3v3? Let's make it a 4v3 before your eyes.
Yeah, I think that is a huge possibility in that sort of sense. And during the group stages, this is the only few teams that pulled out Cho successfully with win ratios. Now, from our directors, it seems like we are ready to slowly get ourselves into the game. These are your players facing each other inside of the battlefield. Now, heading in towards the mid-lane matchup is going to get a little bit more interesting. So let's talk a little bit about that, because Obulian, somewhat of a mage support sort of player coming in, as he's pretty well flexible, and he's about to face off against Evil X or even Long Orin in that sense.
Yeah, and I think he's got a lot of work. Most of it cut out for him. I think their draft kind of makes it super forgiving to play the composition overall. But I think the most important thing in their mind is to play their own game. I think 10 Seconds Gaming, they have a plan in mind. Axis, they can't get in their heads about this. They know it's going to be a difficult comp to pull out, but if they wait for the right timings, wait for their conditions, I think they might be able to pull out a W here. But let's go straight into the game between these two top competitors in the lower section of the bracket. 10 Second Gaming versus Axis Esports.
Now, I'm still curious to find out what exactly those 9 secret recipes to success are for 10 Seconds Gaming, because they talk so much about how they have never really lost their series against a lot of all these teams, but they finally fell in the hands of EVO's Legends, which brought them in towards the 2nd seed. And wow, look at that go. Totaka here, of course, securing that turret above, while 10 Seconds Gaming is already going for a couple of invades heading in towards the jungle.
Yeah, very good response here from both sides. We're just going to have to see how they want to play this out. Tomibel is already level 3. He's getting far ahead of the team, and I'm pretty sure that they bought the wooden mask. We just can't see the indicators above their head.
Very selfless support coming in from Surrey in that sort of sense. Still level 1. Gonna hit level 2 pretty soon. Same goes to Obuyan. So that River Crab will definitely help him a whole lot. Of course, that would still be given away to Papa in that sense. Well, here comes key members of 10 Seconds ready for a flank. Scott does go in for an attempt, and there it goes. Raid coming from the back as well. Axis Esports wants to commit, and Tataka falling really low. That's 20% more of HP left for Tataka, but they do get enough respect coming from Axis Esports.
Good rotations coming in from Axis. They're making sure they're keeping 10 Second Gaming in check. They're not having a very big window to actually look for the punish, even though 10 Seconds Gaming were there first. Good defense, but let's see how 10 Seconds Gaming want to play this out, because it looks like they want to punish topside.
Yeah, and I really like that double retribution setup as well, as we see Lilia holding one of it. So if they were to actually go in for those sort of steal attempts, that will possibly be happening as well with that really high damage output in that sense. Now, great rotation through the middle, while Axis Esports is pushing the bottom lane as well. There might just be a little bit of collision in the jungle. Rin waiting inside the bush, and Surey soaking a little bit of plates, and here comes Evil X.
Yep, look at how they're going to play this out. It's a 1-3-1 composition here. They have a 3-kill squad, 2 tanks with Tomebo to kind of peel them off and slow them down once he gets that full gauge. But for the most part, the true damage is going to be a huge part. But Lilia on the top side, she's kind of rotated downwards. They're expecting something to happen here for the side of Axis Esports.
They have to be careful about the Kufra as we see 10-second gaming plus popping in and out. Surey just bringing a little bit of tension here. Tomebo's going to commit to its Evil X while charged to escape. So they will negate the danger right here. Still a stalemate between the two of them, but Evil X comes right back at him. Surey just heading towards the back line here. Scott's going to be getting himself in the middle of the pack, but here comes Evil X. They're going to commit to this fight. Flicker rate pop there from the side of Rin as well. And now look at how disciplined both sides are.
Yeah, they're still alive. Masha in the backside fighting 1v1 against the Cho. She is not in position to take this fight. The buff looks to be stolen away by the side of 10-second gaming. They are just making sure that they can't really play the game and are starving them out of the jungle. 10-second gaming on the top side. I'm not sure if Lilia was able to take the buff away. River Crab going over to 10-second gaming again. They're taking everything.
Just about 700 gold of a difference. Not too huge of a lead, but then again, they're starving them out of EXP in that sort of sense. Now, level 7 already being hit, while Scott is still level 4 in that sense, as we see Axis Esports here sticking as a unit. This is something that's a little bit rare to me, because Axis Esports like to play 1v1 as well. They like to focus over in the mid lane, but look at that go. Here goes Papa being taken down for first blood. And Axis Esports take the lead in terms of kills.
Woo! First blood already, but it took so long, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, around 45 seconds to actually secure the kill after so long. Both teams are refusing to play super risky. They're waiting for the right conditions, but a great setup by Scott. Papa gets caught out of place, and the Death Sonata just ensures his death.
What a strength coming in from the side of Tyrant Rage, popped up by the Kufra. Well, no point to actually commit towards Evil X. He does have his wall charge intact, so this is just going to be him just trying to actually get a little bit of that heating coming in from that sort of fire that he puts out. But great overstepping in towards the enemy lines, and now we'll be bursted out. A little bit of lateness coming in from Obuyan as well to Meeble, but they're committing towards getting Riz. Last and Sally pops up, looking for Scott as well. Here comes Gato Gacha, knocking him off, and that will buy enough time for an escape.
A good 1-for-1 trade for both sides. Surey for Rin this time, and I think it's a little bit more worth it for 10 Seconds Gaming trading a tank for a main mage, as 10 Seconds Gaming continue to push forward. It's been 5 minutes into the game, and nobody has been able to touch the turtle.
Oh, well, I think that is way too risky coming in to that sort of a tussle that they even have in between those jungle entry points. So with that being said, they gave enough respect to each other, but 10 Seconds Gaming Plus, they're only focusing on all these buffs. Evil X already forcing the element out, but Tomebo here just having so much of that pressure. I just love how the Japanese are actually rotating around and forcing all these members of Axis to do what they're not supposed to.
Exactly, and they have very good understanding of buff timings as well. The moment they steal it away, they know exactly when it's coming back up, so they just time it right, plan their rotations to make sure they end up on the right side of the map. The turtle is going to be saying Lassid's in a little bit of trouble, but he's forced to back away. Evil X needs to clear that way, but the rest of the team comes through. Last Insanity is pushing on forward. Boxia in the back line doesn't want to commit to this, but happening on the top side, Papa blocking off with the black shoes. He comes out of safety, but Axis Esports break a top tier 1. They trade turrets.
Well, we know that Lilia might just have some plans up her sleeves as they are trying to actually burst down that Granger, but she knows for a fact that Kufra has been babysitting that Granger for the longest of time. So no overcommitments, towers for towers, top side for bot, and now look at the items we have Ogre Tomahawk in the hands of the Cho. Surey trying to get a little bit of that setup being done here as they are looking to take down the mid lane turret, but Surey's just going to be rotating around the jungle, hoping to connect a little bit of that charge, heading over to Scott, but it's a little bit way too far for 10 Seconds Gaming to follow up.
Yeah, there's nothing much they want to do there, especially when it's a Kufra. It's not exactly the biggest catch to Athena's shield being bot, just to make sure that Papa doesn't do as much damage as he should. Lilia, we all know she has a built-in damage. Ooh, they're not going to commit to this. Okay, they're just going to push him out to take tier 2. But yeah, Ice Queen's wand is a very powerful item the moment Papa buys it.
They do understand their restrictions in that sort of sense, and Axis Esports forced to give that one away. Same goes to bottom side as Tataka has to watch his hard fall. But here comes Rin going for that commitment there, and they didn't even need any help. Oh, so Rin's gonna get caught as well. Here comes Papa going against Rin, and this is gonna be a 1v1. Turns it around as Obuyan has just arrived to the scene, looking for Luke. Look at that damage! One tick of health left, and it's a double kill heading towards Papa, and Papa might just be able to land the triple if Suray could actually halt them through, but that's enough for now.
Yeah, they absolutely disrespected. After the first kill, they probably should have backed away, but instead they were buying a lot of time because Ubuya quickly rotating with the Sky Guardian, with the Sky Avatar coming in, landing in the perfect place to make sure that Gushin was not able to go out. They have to respect the fact that Ice Queen wand is already purchased by Papa, but let's look at this replay one more time. Like, this is looking good, and here is where it gets worse. Papa's already in position. Gato sees the opportunity, cuts off the backline, and now they're in a lot of trouble because Lung as well as Evil X are so out of position. They're so pushed up.
Yeah, and they understand that they have already overcommitted towards the bottom side, where, of course, they got into themselves one kill for Axis Esports, but knowing that Rin has already used his ultimate, so they would be easily punishing him no matter what. And Gato just came in just in time, and look at the mid lane go. Oh! That's a collision course, and 10 seconds gaming plus off to a takedown mid lane.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but now this game is slowly coming out of their hands as 10 Seconds Gaming have revved up the engines and they're making sure. I can hear the initial D playing in the background as they're cutting the waves. They're cutting everything away, and this is getting a little scary for Axis Esports.
Yeah, Axis Esports, they know that they might be able to actually get clipped out, especially with the drifting Suray that's causing a lot of nuisance here, turning things around and hoping to actually connect that hit. And Evil X will be clipped up with the stun, but they are crashing in towards the jungle there as they see all these members dropping low. Tomato will be falling out flat. That's the Xbox crash out of the game, and Evil X still chasing on to Tataka. Tataka here going on the wrong direction, my friend. That's not how you want to escape. And Obuyan only left with a slither health.
3 for 1 in favor of Axis Esports. They played that really, really well. Like, look, he was acting as bait. He brought Papa away. He chunked them out, realizing that they were doing a lot of damage. Lilia had to try and take him out. However, that Rondo is just a great ability, especially when it gets resetted with the help of his abilities and the invulnerability. He buys so much time.
Yeah, I think that time bot is definitely so valuable. And look at Obuyan now having immortality, so he could easily use the element to engage it towards the fight without worrying all too much of dropping low. Suray now flanking from the right side as well. Same goes to Obuyan. Now, where are the rest of the members of 10 Seconds Gaming Plus? They're not really going to fully commit to this, as we see. They don't even do all too much damage towards that Grok.
Yeah, honestly, what the game is coming down to is just positioning. Who has better positioning in the game? Because if Papa focuses his targets correctly and even plays front to front, he might be able to chunk enough people out before having to be aggressive with the black shoes. He has to hold that ability up just in case Rin finds a window to actually land the sword spike.
Well, I definitely would say that it's going to be pretty dangerous when both of these mages collide, and I would want to say that Lum here scaling upwards with the endless battle being purchased. Look at that crit though, that's only 2 minutes, and imagine if it lands on towards Papa. Now Evil X does not have a single carry in the world, just going to be clearing off those min waves as we see 10 Seconds Gaming Plus. Remember, they do have double retribution. They could easily snatch that one away if they do commit towards that Lord and force Axis to battle in places that they don't want to.
Uh-oh, Scott's in trouble here. He's trying to get out. He pops out the revitalize. Evil X in the back line. Foul, charge, gets the back, stops the forward. Sky Guardian's Avatar. He misses. He doesn't hit. Looks alive, and Evil X with the power of nature. He's trying to bail out of there.
Masha
they defend an awful situation. Rin in the back line. Lasted as well. They're just holding their ground. They're not moving any forward. A great defense coming out of Axis Esports.
They know though, Lasted is just waiting at the back, just hoping to actually give them the surprise of a lifetime here as he will possibly turn things around if he can go for the steal, but he has already been spotted out. So the rest of Axis are going for it in re-engagement as well, looking for Papa, trying to burst him down. Opuya's going to do the same towards Long as well, but Long will be able to get himself into safety. Opuya will try to support the rest of the members as we see the Cobra has been slain, taken off, and Evil next will be the next one on the chopping block, and Tomato will melt him like butter.
Yep, but they're sacrificing 2 members in trading for that tier 2 as Masha was able to get a really good push with Rin. Rin was nowhere near the fight. He was just making sure that Totaka won't be able to secure a kill onto that Masha if he walks up. So they had to have an insurance policy, but that just might have netted 10-second gaming a free Lord without congestion.
Well, Axis Esports need to pay a whole lot more insurance fee in that sort of sense to get themselves pretty safe before that sort of base gets crushed down by this Lord.
Oh, now with Lord in their hands, this kind of changes the game up a little bit. Immortality being bombed by Scott. He knows that if he gets caught out, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But for the most part, I think both teams are doing a fairly good job. 4K goal differential, 10-second gaming. Once Lord starts knocking on the doors of Axis Esports' inhibitors, they might be able to secure themselves their final items for their carries. Like, look at that. The Winter Truncheon for the side of Papa. He's able to walk up in front because he knows he can tank the damage. He can go back in time with the black shoes. And if that's not all, Winter Truncheon just to make sure you don't get to play the game.
Oh, yeah. And Immortality, well, there's definitely that second life as well. Here comes the Lord. And now Opuya does not even want to care who's in the front line. He's diving in for Rin as well as Long, soaking enough damage only to bring him to 50%. But now Lord has emerged and Scott forcing this fight out. And they want to end this game right here, right now. Scott being brought down low. None of his members have fallen yet. Here comes Lassus though. He does have the attack speed to actually clear out the Lord. It won't be enough for them to bring it down. But the rest of the members of Axis Esports getting depleted all down to low to turn this around. But this is way too much for them to handle. The Japanese side, 10 seconds gaming plus. We'll take game 1.
They played that so well. Congratulations to 10 Seconds Gaming taking game 1 away from Axis Esports. Woo! I have to say, that was a pretty tough game, but overall, once the snowball got rolling, once they had Lord, they made some great decisions, and I think Axis was just pushed back into a corner.
Well, I think that they definitely need to juice up in game 2. And they do have similar ideas heading in towards the draft. The way that Axis Esports drafted out was almost perfect. And it's all boiling down to that execution where they just lost a lot of the control, especially towards all these Reaper fights.
I told you, the game is about being in the right place at the right time. It's all about positioning. 10 Seconds Gaming, they're very disciplined in where they stand. If they control this area, where do they have to split? Where do they have to position themselves? Where do they have to be? Axis Esports got caught off mid-rotation, and then they had to make a split-second decision. Okay, they're going to be able to take Lord. We can't really contest this. We're going to stick our fingers into the jungle while Masha pushes the mid lane.
I just love how smart they played this one now, and now it's really great to see them actually securing this point convincingly in that sort of sense. But there was a lot of back and forth going on between both the team, and now let's bring up the statistics here to elaborate even further. Tomibo, we talked about him, of course, coming into this playoff runs as one of the top dogs, and look at him go. He is definitely selfless as he has fallen 7 times, but look at the support as the assists went off the charts with 25 in total.
Yeah, and again, like, it's come to the point where a lot of teams are deciding, you know what, it takes way too long for these marksmen to come up online. Like, I feel like, especially with Granger, yes, he has the damage, but the tank scale enough, he's not going to do as much as he would like it to. And they're deciding, you know what, let's put Tomoebo on this X-Bar. He's going to be doing a lot of early game damage. We've got Lilia on our sides. We've got Sho. Our damage dealers need 1 to 2 items to really pop off. Let's make this early game count, and they did.
Yeah, and remember how they actually start things off in definitely sparkle and ignited a whole lot of blazing trails across the enemy territories as they pressurize that buff over and over and over again, forcing them out of their territory. And Axis Esports, they're out of their own playground, which they were definitely not in their comfort zone in that sort of sense. And I felt like Axis Esports need to find a little bit of a way to actually counter that in that sense into game 2.
Honestly, I think they were doing a really, really good job. It's just Lord. They have to make sure Lord is their biggest win condition for the side of 10 Second Gaming. With a composition like that, they only have one opportunity. If that Lord doesn't make a difference, they won't be able to scale. But let's have a look at the highlights.
Now starting things off, we saw Sure, of course, getting catch out, but look at Obuyan as well as Tomibo. Although he did fall, they still try to commit to take down Rin. Last Insanity to secure a 1-for-1 trade-off. Got the catch out, goes up in the air, gets him a little bit of security to actually run up as well. Well, Sataka, although he fell right here, look at the response coming from the rest of 10 Seconds Gaming. Papa went in to assassinate Rin alongside with Obuyan, and Sure just buying enough time, distracting Evil X as well as Long.
I think what we have to understand here is that 10 Seconds Gaming, their composition is designed to kind of do these fast rotations. I mean, you have Sure, once he goes into Boxing Shield mode, he basically can just run through the entire jungle, transverse the entire map without much to worry about. And the same thing goes with Gato. If they really need him, it's like, okay, they're pulling the trigger. How do we defend against it? We can have Gato kind of come in from the side lane and jump at least halfway across the map. That's why he's staying around the mid side for the most part, just to respond.
Yeah, that's definitely a surprising factor. We thought that it was going to be even trades, but when that Gato arrives, that's where they turn things around, gets them timed up, and this is where, of course, fighting in choke points, not really the best of ideas for the side of Axis Esports, but this was a really long extended fight where you see Evil X, he was like trading back and forth as they saw Rin supposedly entering the fight as well, but even he could not withstand the heat that's coming out of that export.
Yeah, and at the very end of the day, I mean, he's pushing back out. We're realizing, like, yes, they have a lot of damage. We can't really cut through their tanks. And if they drag out fights, they're usually going to win this. I think what they needed to do for the side of Axis Esports was really to just stop, wait, and scale, deny the win conditions from the side of 10 Second Gaming, which is Lord, and just slowly come into the game. And once that Granger is online, has his three, maybe even fourth item, he should be able to just shred through the entire team because they don't scale.
Yeah, and they definitely didn't really consider that fact that it's really hard to scale at that point. And as for 10 Seconds Gaming Plus, they're getting so tanky that it really doesn't matter if they went in for this sort of dive. Look at that. The Lord was almost gone, and they're still going for those fights, taking off Axis members one after another. And as they escort that sort of a final minute push, they managed to secure game 1 in hand.
Yeah.
Pretty much in great fashion as well. And that's our choke point, the entry point towards Lord. We saw Axis just went in rushing one after another. Yes, they could tank a couple of hits, but if one of these members fall, then you know, you're just giving the green light towards 10 Second Gaming Plus to actually secure the Lord. But yet again, they bait them again and again and again. Smart moves all across.
I think that's what they want to do because, again, it's a high-risk situation. You don't want it to be a 50-50. You want it to be 100% confident that you're going to take away that Lord. And I think when it comes to a composition like this, they might want to consider picking up a Retribution just to be sure, hey, we're going to secure this. But looking at our MVP, it's going to be, of course, the man himself, Tomibo, on his export.
I just love how he played that one out. And he wasn't the type of export that went in with those flare plays where you just go in for the dives on the back line. He was just playing a front line export. And he didn't really need to actually do too much of those sort of flashy plays like I mentioned early on. Look at the amount of damage he dealt, 23%. And, well, every single fight, he was there for the team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And more importantly, look at his most played heroes. Export carry Kimmy. This guy is playing not Export as a regular fighter. He wants to carry games, and that's what's super exciting about this.
Yeah, and this is the only sort of a melee hero that's being most played by himself as well.
Yeah.
Well, if you open up the Kimmy, he might have just gone for it as well, where you could also do a lot of DPS. So basically, Tomibo just wants to melt people down no matter what he picks.
Yeah.
And whether he's going to throw some arrows or spears or whatever it is, he just wants to make sure whoever's in front of him will disappear.
Exactly. And I think that's something to really consider from the side of Axis Esports because I don't think they were expecting, you know, the Xborg to be the carry pick of all of a sudden. But looks like we've got an interview video coming up real soon here, and I'm excited to see what, you know, what they kind of have to say. But let's have a look at that interview video now.
Apa yang paling bermakna untuk kami ialah keserasian antara kami semua. Bagaimana di sebalik kelainan individu kami masih boleh mencapai satu impian bersama. Keserasian tak semestinya bermaksud yang kami mesti tahu apa yang setiap ahli kumpulan fikirkan. Tetapi, kalau kami boleh faham cara pemikiran setiap kami boleh bergerak selari, beraksi selari sesama kami. Barulah kami boleh menjadi kuat sebagai satu kumpulan. Kerjasama tak bermakna dengan tiadanya keselarian, terutamanya di dalam dunia kami sekarang. Di dunia e-sports kini, kami tak mampu untuk bertindak keseorangan. Kami berlatih bersama, kami makan bersama, kami harungi detik-detik cemas dan gembira bersama setiap masa. Sebab itu, keselarian sesama kami sangat penting. Kami sentiasa ada bersama dengan satu matlamat untuk semua yang kami inginkan, mimpi dan harapan menjadi realiti, untuk menjadi lebih baik lagi dalam apa yang kami perjuangkan. Dan semestinya
untuk menang di setiap pertempuran.
Main tournament M1 ni, kita orang cuba dapatkan yang terbaik lah. Itu dari segi kemampuan kita orang mungkin top 5.
So for our M1 preparation, we have the training schedule. So we have like 10 hours per day training schedule lah. So like 8 hours we like sparring with any other teams. Then the other 2 hours we try meta in the rank.
Untuk opponent yang kuat dekat M1 ni, mungkin banyaklah tim-tim luar tu yang kami tak kenal, tak tahu, tak pernah lawan pun. Tapi opponent yang paling kami agak gerun tu macam ESPORTS Indo, Vietnam team. Tu antara tim yang kita orang agak gerun lah. Tapi kita orang cuba lawan.
So for M1 we don't really have a special strategy or what. Just we recently have a coach, so he tried to fix everything from basic lah to advanced, to fix what we can lah for this M1.
Working real hard to reach the top. That's Access Esports. They're training day and night, at least about 8 to 10 hours a day.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, that's definitely a full-time professional esports player's duty, as they are trying to be not only the best of the nation, the best in the world. And now they are 1 point away from the brink of defeat.
Yeah, it's sad to say that they are, but I don't think they should give up just yet. They still have an opportunity to maybe reverse sweep this into their favor. Is it something they can do? We've seen it before. They've done it in Season 2 of the MPL MYSG. We're just going to have to hope that they need the support of that crowd, because we know for a fact this is a crowd team. Once they have those cheers, their blood is pumping. They just need to get that goal lead, and the snowball will begin.
Once upon a time, they were known as the underdogs, and today they are no longer the underdogs, and they should not perform like one as well. Now it's time for us to head into Game 2 to see whether Access Esports can bounce back for Game 2. Rafaela Bain